accessible to humans, then I think we're doing our job. Okay, so I just got off the phone with Frank from Float Tank Solutions. He was probably the biggest voice of reason in this whole search for manufacturing and information and knowledge and marketing ideas. He said never ever have an empty tank. Never have nobody in that tank. Everyone that's talking about manufacturing these tanks, owning centers, they're all on the same page. That's what we want to do. We want to get the whole world floating.
Have you ever heard of float tanks or isolation tanks?
Float
tanks.
Oh no, I never heard it before.
Okay. No sounds, no light, no stimulation of any type. You just lay back and float.
1,000
pounds of salt.
So you're gonna how many pounds? 1,000
pounds of salt in the tank. So you float perfectly. You don't do anything, and you're just floating perfectly.
This is for like some kind of like therapy?
Yeah, therapy, exactly. Relax, de-stress. And they're based here in Grass Valley, so.
Samadhi, S-E-M.
Samadhi. And today we're visiting Samadhi Tanks. We're going to see Glen and Lee. They've been doing it since the beginning and are ambassadors for this and have done more for floating than probably anybody else has. So it's a great opportunity to meet the godfather and the godmother of this industry and hear what they have to say. Yay.
We're in the hot world, right?
Yes, yes.
Might as well do that.
This is Benjamin.
Where do you find nothing?
Yes.
It's so hard to find.
Yeah.
I probably have floated more than anyone in the whole world. Many people have fears before they get into the tanks the first time, whether they call it fear of darkness or drowning or suffocation or claustrophobia. It's often the thought or the idea that they're not in control of the situation. The situation you're completely in control of, so on. The body, the air, and the water are all the same. It should be between 93 and 95 degrees is the temperature of the water. That's when your body disappears. We're offering nothing so that people can get into it and even begin to enjoy it. We're willing to spread what we know. We want to, because we want to keep that nothing sacred. We really do. It's a time in the world where nothing is not around. It's getting more and more pushed out of the way. I know that what you're thinking is that this can spread really fast, and it is spreading at a much faster rate right now than it ever has before. In the past, the several times when there was an attempt for it to spread out, it was the concern was more to make money than to give this gift. It seems like it's working very nicely now, and it's influencing parts of the country that have never been touched by consciousness before. And what's different now is that people who have had an experience, they just want to give that away. They want people to have it as well.
To have the opportunity to just be in silence and to slow down and to be with themselves, that's such a treat. And it's like an ice cream cone or something, you know, it's a treat. Just being in that oneness experience of really letting go of the body and just being present. I think it's so beautiful. What a gift to share with somebody.
They asked me how we got connected to Lily. So I said, you should tell that story.
So, I mean, you are the grandfather of floating, wouldn't you say?
Yep. So you want to know how I got started? Is that the question? So I was a systems computer programmer working for a company that actually made the computer that first started the internet. Somebody there gave me a book of John's, Center of the Cyclone, and when I read it I was blown away because he talked about esoteric things. I saw an ad for a workshop he was giving, and a 5-day workshop. I went. We had a makeshift tank. The first day I floated, and he asked me to share my experience after I floated. If there were 2 people that I went to the cafeteria with, I wouldn't talk because I was too shy. There was one person I'd talk. And I felt reasonably comfortable talking to this group of people. I thought, wow, something could make me comfortable talk to a group. It must be pretty incredible. So I immediately decided I had to have my own. I got his blessing, and he gave me all the information about how to do it that he knew. And I started working on a prototype. 2 years later, I met Lee. I was selling a few of them while I still had my regular job. So we quit our jobs and decided to do it full time. People are free to do a center however they want to do it, and I'd like to share with you a little bit about our vision of centers. To us, the center should be like the tank, and the staff should be like the tank. So both of them should be empty. And the purpose of the job is for you to practice being present. You're just doing your spiritual practice and getting paid for it.
Just giving of yourself and the things that you want to do and the things that you stand for in your life. And, you know, that's real important, I think, as part of the center, because you're the expert in the eyes of the people who come there.
We've talked to several float operators now, and not one of them floats on a regular basis. Not one of them.
Doesn't that drive you nuts?
It's
That's one of the things that Glen and I have always been very fond of, is floating.
I know, yeah.
You're 82 years
Yeah,
old.
a
that,
marinated 82-year-old.
that are this lucid and joy-filled and purposeful and just clear and cognizant. Like, I don't know too many 82-year-olds that are, you know, have.
I don't either.
The whole world has benefited tremendously from you too and what you've done for this world.
Oh, shucks.
Seriously, I'm not trying to like.
Yeah, the consciousness level of that farm with those 2 people at the helm is on a level I don't know if we can comprehend at this point. Floating is the key to longevity and peace and happiness and harmony and.
Your heart is very open, and that is huge. And floating is a practice, just like anything else. It's healing, but maybe we only need for so long. Well, you always need it. And very excited to share this with people.
Today's the day I pick up Amber. She's been on a 9-day women's leadership seminar. What are we doing in Chico?
Float! Renew Float Spa. Gonna each go get a float. And that's good enough. And that's good. Do we know what kind of trees these are? You know, self-development takes a lifetime. You know, it's always growing. It's always learning. It may never be perfect, but every day I just continue forgiving what is, because as soon as you forgive it, then there's no shame or guilt around it, and then there's no energy on it, and then you can release it. Really, I can hate it, or I can just let it be and just accept it. I want to know what kind of trees those are. If you see a sign, let me know.
Hi.
You know, for your floats.
Yes. Rick. Adam. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Cool.
Great, thank you.
Why don't I give you a tour of our spot, because we don't have a whole lot of people in here, so we can show it to you right now. So what we have here is 250 gallons of water with 950 pounds of Epsom salts in it. This is a completely light-free and sound-free environment. It's like nothing you've ever done before, and there's almost always an adjustment period.
I think people for the first float have a tendency to completely analyze where they are and what they're doing, and they can't just be in there in peace.
It took me a few months to get in there. I was not a fan at first. The claustrophobia.
You know, I get very clear thoughts in here. I can solve a lot of problems in here just thinking. So the no distractions, it's a great place to process and think.
Just that first time, and then when I got in there I was like, oh, this is not bad. I felt like I was going around in circles in like an ocean.
Because it's an isolation thing, there's no distractions, so obviously you're going to have to work through the laundry list in your brain, and when you get done with the list, there's nothing else to do, right?
Yeah, so many people want to know, well, what is the best time to float? And really, it's any time of the day.
Usually I come over here and float when nobody's here. Like I get in here at 5 in the morning.
I mean, if you feel like you need to set the tone of the day, morning. If you feel like you need a nap and then be rejuvenated for the rest of your day, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
When I wake up the next day, it's like I don't even need to drink coffee. It was like drinking a pound of coffee. It was just like, I was lit. And the dreams are fun.
If you just want to get rid of what the day has put on you, do an evening float. I don't know. There's just every single period of the day is perfect for whatever you need it for.
How long have you been floating?
Maybe like a year and a half, maybe something like that. Yeah. I take edibles in there. The edibles seem to just let my body relax, where I can just be in my mind and kind of control it a little bit better. But yeah, I like it. I mean, it definitely enhances the experience and lets the creative side of you kind of come out. Motivation, creative problems, anything like that. Certain problems in my life, relationships, anything. And I'll take it in there now, and that's what I deal with. And so eliminating all distractions, light, sound, feeling, everything, and just focusing on those problems for 45 minutes, you really come to the answers. You know what you have to do about it, where you have to go with things, and then when you get out, you're just ready to sit down and create whatever you want. You feel creative. It's pretty simple. Life's pretty simple.
I'm Adam.
How long have you been floating?
What'd you say? 7 months? About 7 months. I've only floated about 10 to 15 times. The thing I liked the most about it, to be honest, was just the quietness. It quiets your mind, gets rid of everything. And I didn't do a lot of work in there, but what I found was that for my body, like it felt like I had the best massage I've ever had in my life. I've herniated a disc in my back, and so anytime I can relieve pressure on that disc, it's just awesome for me. So, like, I started doing hip stretches and stretching out my torso, and that for me was just as therapeutic as the mental side. I think what it is, you go nowhere. You're nothing. You're just a brain floating in space, and there's nothing. Nobody's using it. Like it's got to be less than 0.5% of the population that's even heard of it.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's like, could it be this simple?
Yes, I love it.
I highly recommend it. Float often.
Every single person needs
Every
to do
single
this.
person needs to do this as a start to life, like as an initiation to life. And it's everything that you need, and it's growing without anybody pushing it. Nobody's talking about it, nobody's selling it, it's just growing through the world. So I think it's what North America needs more than anything else. It's like, it's gonna happen because it brings people back to what they're supposed to be. It gives you that initiation to life. It teaches you what life is.
Like, you are everything you need, you're all powerful, you're all knowing, and you just don't know it yet, and you haven't discovered it yet. And then that's what everybody that does this says. They all say, I know everything, and I've seen all the answers to the universe, and I've asked all the questions, and I asked myself all the questions, and and the answers I got, I was completely content with.
Yeah.
Emerge out of there, I just feel younger, I feel lighter, just totally rejuvenated. I think it's good for everything. It's got to be good for everything.
It just makes you a better human in general.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But I'm highly prejudiced and highly marinated.